I want to say thank you everyone so much for coming to help support the Heritage Village and the Mackinaw Area Historical Society. It means a lot to us to have you all here, so really, honestly, sincerely, thank you so much for coming. We wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the 20 years that we've got under our belts, so we're going to go through a few things. But again, thank you everyone so much for coming. And I have been, I think, I'm not the newest board member anymore, but I am still sort of new. So if I haven't met you, feel free to introduce yourself. I like to know people's names. But I'm very happy that Sandy is our board president, and she has been doing a great job. And she's going to talk in just a minute, but on your tables we have trivia sheets. If you work your way through those, there will be prizes. So your job is to fill that trivia sheet out. But at this point, I'll have Sandy come up, and she's going to go through our 20 years of history. Here's our clicker.
Okay. So I'm Sandy Planasek, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm president this year. And this is the 20th anniversary of Heritage Village. The organization actually started in 1996, I believe. And so it's more than 20 for the organization, but 20 years for Heritage Village. So we're celebrating tonight. We tried to put little things around that says 20 years. Anyway, so that's okay. We tried hard. So that's why the trivia thing on your table is questions from 2004. And so some of you, I know that'll be harder because some of them are local history from back then, but some of them are national history. It was a combination of people making up the questions, so don't blame me for all of that. And at some point here along the way, Leanne is going to read out the answers, and then she'll talk about the winners. But I'm going to talk a little bit about Heritage Village. Oh, that one?
Yep. And make sure the light is on.
It is not.
There you go.
Oh, okay, so this is what Heritage Village sort of, I stand here by the post so I don't block it. This is what Heritage Village looks like from the air right now. When we first got it, it was a field, a plowed field. And let's see if I can make this go.
Point it down there.
Oh, yeah, okay. So in 2004, we got, Jim Tamlin will remember this because his name is on the bottom there, of the deed we got from Emmet County for this property. 43 acres we got. Jim orchestrated that. Jim's over there. Jim orchestrated that for us from Emmet County. Oops.
I need to.
Yeah. Oops, I just gave away one of the yeah, and so the first building we put in out there was the artifact building because we realized that a lot of turnover in the downtown business district was happening, and we were losing signs particularly that we could save about our history. And so we needed a place to put them, so the very first thing we did was build the artifact building out there in 2004. But then things started happening quickly for us, and Rosetta Mann offered up what's called the pest house. It was a pestilence house. It was Mackinaw City's precursor to a hospital. When you got sick, you were sent to the pest house. And particularly if you had horrible diseases like smallpox or fevers and things like that. She owned the building and been moved a couple times. It originally was in the cemetery, a very convenient place for a free hospital.
You know?
Yeah, in and out. It had a door in the back, a door in the front, a door in the back. Very convenient. Yes. The village actually owned it. The village built this building, Mackinaw City building. And it was, so she donated that to us in 2004, and I don't know why the whole bottom of the slide isn't showing, but we ended up moving it out to Heritage Village that year. By the end of the year, I can't remember their names, but they donated the school to us. So all in that year, we got the land, we got 3 buildings. The school didn't actually get moved, I think, until a little bit later, but the school was very bad shape. But there were other things going on in Mackinaw City in 2004, so I thought I'd throw a couple of those in here. Anybody know what the top left one is? Our Bible church was getting a parking lot that year. Old Mackinaw Point was happening, and they were building the bell tower down at Conklin Park. So there was a lot going on in Mackinaw that year. Now we jump to last year, because I only have 5 minutes to talk about. So last year, we jump over 20 years. Last year we dedicated the ice house. This is the Koch family who donated the ice house. We got some grants down at the bottom left. Our a tree grant that we got from DTE Energy. They paid for trees at the entry. We opened up the bingo trail, which if you haven't done it, that's a fun activity. We had speakers, and we finally submitted all the trails in Maywood, so that we now have a map of all the trails, thanks to the grants over here. Yay! And also in 2023, we had lots of events. We had a really fantastic Renaissance wedding up there on the left, where people came dressed in Renaissance garments, flowing robes and things. It was very weird. It was very nice. We joined the Vernal Pond Patrol. We joined the Monarch Way Station group. We had great Christmas activities. You can't see, but that fellow in the bottom there was his dog at our Christmas activity. And of course, we had school groups, which we have every year. Coming up here, one of the things that, there's some things behind the scenes things that have to happen. It's not all showy. We're getting a new website. That's going to be the look of it there in the top left, and then a typical page on the bottom left there. Fish and Wildlife Service has approached us about putting in equipment, that's the best I can do, equipment that tracks bats and other animals and goes into a national database. And one of the kinds of equipment, I don't know, somebody said it's something like about this, I don't know. Anyway, it's called MODIS. It's a national collection of migrating organisms. So they're going to come out in the spring. The Fish and Wildlife people out of St. Ignace or West Arrow St. Ignace are going to come out and talk about that. And then the other thing we have coming this summer is we will be doing the ribbon cutting on the general store. And the Smiths have worked hard at that, and it's really a fantastic looking place if you haven't been out there to see that. We also are getting more signs. The stone wall on the edge is getting a sign. We have a grant, Keith Connect, and Brant, his son, are going to be rebuilding our Indian presence. It's going to be covered in canvas, not bark, but that's happening this spring. And then, back to the Grims, they're going to put a port into the sawmill that Greg Harwick's standing at here, so that people can actually see into the sawmill this year. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, my little segment here, is this picture on the bottom, and I'm sorry you can't see more of it, and I'm not sure why, but it's a picture that was taken 100 years ago in a house in Mackinaw City, and to me, it's absolutely fascinating. You look at every little thing in there, like, what do they have pictures? What are the lights like? What are the wallpaper? What are the chairs like? And that ties in with one of the things we want to do this year, and that's create a time capsule that we're going to bury in 2025. And so we want to put in fascinating things. One of those, I think, is pictures inside our houses. You hardly ever see photos inside people's houses. You might see them sitting on a couch with all the family, but just what does your kitchen look like? What does your bathroom look like? And so we're starting to collect that kind of information. And we have sheets over here. We also have other things you can look at over here. Sheets that ask you, what do you think we should put in a time capsule, and your opinions about this, that, and the other to put in the time capsule. A piece of paper we could put in with your views of what's important in Mackinaw, what do you like in Mackinaw, what do you hate in Mackinaw. Give you a chance to say it all. But hopefully you'll take pictures and actually get them printed out, on paper like they used to do. Walmart still does that, so that we could put them in there. So in 25 years when we dig this up, people will be able to see what the inside of our houses look like now. I think that'll be really cool. And the village has agreed to plant our time capsule where the one was that we put into the ground in the year 2000, which is at the big rock in the cemetery, so that you can find it. You know, I don't know if you remember, in 2000, people couldn't find time capsules that had been buried, they got built on top of it, whatever. So we have a big rock out there, a big plaque that says time capsules here, dig this one up, and the village has said that they'll plant this one, so we have to just get it together. So, let's see, is that it? Yes, and then on to the volunteer of the year. Every year we pick a volunteer of the year. And our volunteer we voted as a board this year is Larry Flynn. So I have a few pictures of Larry. He was our president and our chief worker. He not only worked for Heritage Village, he worked on the trails at Headlands, the Brown Trail, and the Purple Trail. Treetops, okay? And he also worked over here on the Crosstown Trail. So he's done a lot of trail work, he did a lot of trail work. And the reason is past tense, he died in June. I hear the girls over here talking about the haircuts. Larry was really into Maywoods and the nature there. But he did all the kinds of work with Leanne here. Winter, summer, some great photos that were taken out there. And if I can get this to run, how do I get this to run?
Let me see. Oh, sound. Hold on. Ah. Hold on, everyone. Thank you for being patient. I don't know how to do the sound.
Okay, well, we'll pass up on. He's thanking everyone for being volunteers at Heritage Village. It's a very nice video.
I'll put it over here.
Okay,
Afterwards.
you can come and watch it, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so again, we're celebrating 20 years, and what I also wanted to have happen tonight, because we're all about history, is I've asked the State Historic Parks and Craig Wilson.
Yes, and I was so lucky to get to work with Larry, so I'm very happy that we were able to make him our Volunteer of the Year award. We do have a plaque over here that his name has been engraved on, and that will go up and be available for everyone to see as well. I have been in Mackinaw City more or less, not all my life, of course, because if I was, most of you would probably know me already. But since around 2011, and I've worked for the Mackinaw State Historic Parks, and we have a really good relationship with the Heritage Village, I think. And so we wanted to bring our chief curator in to talk a little bit about some of the other projects that are happening this year, because we do have that good relationship. So Craig is going to talk for a little bit about our plans and some of the projects we've been working on.
All right, thanks, Van. I'm going to try and get on.
I was put in charge of technology, but clearly not my forte. So
That's the problem with having historians run events like this.
yeah, it's like
Technology is not our forte.
that and math, like both not things we should be handling. But in the meantime, keep working on the trivia. Because remember, there are prizes at stake.
I think I gave away 2 of the answers.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Eh.
So we're just trying to get it up here so we can actually see all this stuff. There we go. All right. Maybe.
And you should just be next.
Doesn't want to advance. We can see the whole screen now, but now we can't move on.
Well, let you click forward.
Nope.
Eh.
Well, maybe while Leanne works on that just a bit. Again, hello everyone, I'm Craig Wilson, I'm the Chief Curator for Mackinaw State Historic Parks. I have been in that position since 2020. I've worked permanently for the park since 2011 and started off over 20 years ago, actually in 2005, working over on Mackinaw Island. And that's just a good reminder that Mackinaw State Historic Parks, we've got a lot of stuff. We have this stuff here in town, and I'm going to talk kind of a little bit more specifically about that. But we also have stuff just east of town, down 23 at Mill Creek, as well as over on Mackinaw Island. I'd also be remiss if I didn't introduce our resident commissioner, Bill Marvin, who is a member of our governing commission, the Mackinaw Island State Park Commission, as well as the board of the Historical Society. So again, Leanne and Sandy and others asked me to just talk a little bit about what is new at MSHP, at Mackinaw State Historic Parks in 2024. So, kind of big things over on Mackinaw Island. This should be wrapped up in just a month or two. By May, we're building a brand new restroom and nature center at Arch Rock. This is the Milliken Nature Center at Arch Rock. Doesn't quite look like this just yet, but it will very soon. So I'd encourage you all, if you're over on the island, to go check that out. It'll be a great new amenity for our visitors at Arch Rock. Our park naturalist, Kyle Bagnall, has a great new exhibit that's going to be going in here. And this section over here, maybe you can see it's got a lot of windows. Those actually look out towards the lake. That's a whole new exhibit talking about geology of the island and how Arch Rock was formed. A little bit closer to home, here on the mainland at Mill Creek, we have reimagined that to Historic Mill Creek, so it's not Historic Mill Creek Discovery Park anymore. Got a new logo out there. We're really trying to refocus on the historic elements. Our park naturalist, again, Kyle, who some of you may know, he's done a tremendous amount of research to bring new stuff to light, things that were always just kind of there that we had overlooked for many, many years, because Mill Creek, this is now its 40th year of operation. It got started in 1984. And so we're just taking this opportunity again to refocus on some of the historic elements, add some new programs, and really try and invite people to come and experience it once again. But let's kind of focus the rest of our talk on right here in town, just a couple blocks away from where we are right now, over at the lighthouse, over at Old Mackinaw Point, which Sandy noted already. So one of our ongoing projects over the past 20 years, since we got it started in 2004, hint, hint, is restoring missing elements, because buildings moved around, things changed over time after the Coast Guard took over in 1939, and what we've been trying to do is restore it to its appearance in the 19-teens, and so there's been some missing elements. This is an image, again, just over 100 years ago. We're going to be bringing the flagpole back a little bit later. That was something that was there for many years, and then we had to take it down. That should be coming back relatively soon this summer. Other things that maybe aren't so big, we do things big and small, just kind of keep things fresh. This image that you see on the right here is Chester Marshall, who is one of the kids who lived at the lighthouse in the early 20th century, looking kind of goofy there on a scooter. But behind him, you can see that there's a water pump, and that's currently not there. This is now sitting over in the basement of our office waiting to be installed a little bit later this summer. Won't be functional or anything like that, but again, it just kind of helps restore the site to its appearance, again, just over 100 years ago. Going back to this photo, if you go and look at the lighthouse, you're kind of standing in the parking lot for this picture right now. It'll look mostly like this. You know, one of the first things that we did was actually move the barn back. This building had been moved over just to the other side of the bridge. It got moved back. It was restored. Now, 10 years ago, we rebuilt the warehouse right here. That's the Straits of Mackinaw Shipwreck Museum. Last year, we added the oil house. We had that fabricated down at Moran Iron Works. But there's one building that isn't there, and it's this one, circled right here. And so we are currently rebuilding a privy. To put back out there, will not be functional, but again, that will be the last major structure that's missing at Old Mackinaw Point to just help us better interpret the site. So our exhibit designer, Keeney Swearer, drew this up, and our carpenters over in our park operations department are already working on this. So this should come about relatively quickly. Kind of sticking with the theme here, jumping over to Colonial Mackinaw, which, just by show of hands, who's been to Mackinaw within the last year? All right, most of you, great. We always encourage people to come on back. You know, it's not every day that we have major construction projects or things like that, but we always have new things going on. Big things, small things. This is one of the smaller things. This is up in the northwest corner of the fort. This is the military latrine. Kind of a utilitarian building, reconstructed just over 40 years ago, 1982. Kind of interesting story about this. I was trying to do some research about it just to do a light refresh of the exhibits inside. I went into our records and they started talking about, you know, rebuilding the cesspit, the pit underneath it. And I thought, well, I've never seen that. If you've been in there before, there was a row of seats and everything like that, but you couldn't see anything. And last winter, me and Keeney, our exhibit designer, and Steven, who's sitting right here, decided to go exploring one day and realized that we could crawl down through the seats and found the whole pit underneath. Again, never used, but they had built the whole thing. And so that kind of led to more things, and that led to a more thorough reinterpretation of this space. We added some new exhibits. These lights were just added this winter. We reconfigured that seat, so there is no more seat. And if you want to figure out how to use that, you'll have to come visit the exhibit. And you'll actually be able to look down into that reconstructed pit down below. And there's going to be more exhibits that end up there. So again, this is kind of a small thing. But it allows us to tell a greater story, kind of keeps things fresh for our visitors. You know, yeah, come on back, there's something new to see, even if it is just the latrine. But I know I said we don't always do big things. This year we are fortunate enough to be able to be doing a big thing at Mackinaw. And that is an additional reconstruction. Obviously the fort over there is entirely reconstructed. We've been building there since about 1960. We've been digging there archaeologically since 1959. And what we are doing is adding on to an existing building. So this is the Southwest Row House. This has been there since about 1967. There have always been 3 buildings. We are adding a 4th building down here. If you've been to the fort within like the last 15 years, this is going where the bread oven was located for many, many years. That bread oven, a great interpretive tool. It was not there historically. There was a house there. So we had the opportunity to reconstruct that house. It is moving along very, very quickly. We've been very lucky in terms of how the weather has been treating us with all of our various construction projects. But inside is going to be a new gallery exhibit. And this is going to be about slavery in that community. There were enslaved people here at Mackinaw, some black individuals, but a great number of enslaved Native American individuals. So we're going to be talking about those people, how they ended up here, what their lives were like. We've got a couple of mannequins in there that Leanne has created good interpretive clothing for. We'll be incorporating some of our archaeological objects in that, again, to just help us kind of expand our interpretation and tell the story of these people who were just as much a part of this community as anybody else. We know of at least 150 or so individuals, and I know it's real small, you can't see it up here. These are the names of all the enslaved people that we know about, and this is going to be a major part of this new exhibit. Again, this should be complete maybe sometime in May, early June. Because this is the building, I think I took this picture maybe Wednesday. It's even a little bit further along. I was just out there this afternoon, so it is moving very, very quickly, and it will be a great addition to the site. This project and many of our other projects made possible by our friends group, Mackinaw Associates. Show of hands, any Mackinaw Associates members? Yes. All right, again, thank you all for being members. Because this is how we are able to do some of this stuff, our friends group, so just a plug for them. We also have a variety of new programs and tours. Leanne is the site manager at Mackinaw and at the Lighthouse. She's come up with a variety of new tours, talking about architecture, talking about another year in the American Revolution, and a variety of other things. So there's always something fresh going on at our site. So again, I'd really invite you all to come check it out. Sometime this summer, we opened 2 months from a day or two ago. I think we opened on May 8th this year at the fort, May 10th over at the lighthouse, some of the other sites around that time. So again, I invite you to come check that out. A few other things that are going on that are maybe a little bit behind the scenes, but you will definitely be able to see them. Especially if you're over at Darrow's after they open. In just about a month, we're going to be doing a major addition onto our office building, adding additional storage for our archaeological collections. Again, we've been digging there since 1959, so we just keep growing those collections. So we need more storage space. So that'll be able to incorporate that. Next fall and next winter, we will be thoroughly updating the visitor center at Colonial Mackinaw, just underneath the bridge here. So plans are already drawn up for that. We're just basically the day we close the site, there's going to be a tremendous amount of work taking place there under the bridge. And then over on Mackinaw Island at Fort Mackinaw, we have a major project in the soldiers' barracks, updating restrooms there, doing new exhibits, and a variety of other things. So it's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Again, I encourage you to come check out our exhibits. New stuff, as Sandy mentioned, at the village, new stuff at our sites as well. So there's a lot to do and see here in Mackinaw City specifically this summer. So again, get out and check out all that new stuff. But I think that's all I've got. So thanks, everyone.
It's been very interesting to be a part of both organizations, and I encourage everyone to come to both places because it's our town. But for the Heritage Village Board, I would like to introduce the members. So Sandy, we've all met already. She's been our serving president. Mary Ann is also with us. We have Angie, who's not here today, but I think a lot of people know Angie Northland. She pops around town. We also have Donna Fowler. Where is she? There's Donna. She helps keep us all honest. Bill as well, Mr. Bill Marvin. We've got Roy, who is the man behind the camera, as well as Mark Schulten, who's not here today, and Pat Smith. We have Frank, who I think is the newest board member officially, and of course myself. So we, again, appreciate everyone coming to help us out with this event. It means a lot to us to be able to get everyone together and see your faces to help support Mackinaw history. We also, I want to make sure folks know we've got a raffle drawing that's going to happen in July. We have tickets available here. We also have some brochures if anyone's interested in membership for the Heritage Village. There will be a monetary prize associated with the raffle. I don't know what it is, so that's just what I said. As Sandy mentioned earlier, we are also working on getting our time capsule put together. So if you haven't yet, stop by the table and check out some of the information that we have. And now the most important thing. Has everyone completed their trivia? All right, let's see how we do. Everyone is on